Alrighty. Welcome back, everybody, to King of the Castle. Previously we had done a little bit of, say, theory crafting, and we were deciding what we were going to do for our factions today. Because we wanted to have the two factions we hadn't played with yet, the Counts of the East and the Grandees of the South. But we're debating what faction to have as the last faction. Some people were saying Chiefs of the North because the Chiefs won. However, I think the Chiefs should be excluded because they won the previous round. And we want to give, the other factions chances to win as well. So, I leave it up to you, my nobles. Would you like the Barons of the March or the Patricians of the Coast as our final faction for today? Also, how's it going? The Coast? Alright. I gotta vote for the Coast. I'll be honest, that's all I need. Alright. Meet King Quincy of the Shale Dynasty. He is Quincy, ancestor of Quincy, descendant of Quincy. So, wait a minute. New Dynasty players who own the game can type join region, apparently. So if you want to join a specific faction, you can apparently do that now. If you have the, if you actually own the game. Interesting. Alright, we've got ourselves a patrician. We need some counts. We need some grandees. Give people time to file in, because we've only just begun. Yeah, how you been, Glenn? Pardon me, just taking a sip. Doing good? Oh, that's good. Reveling in your victory, as you were the one who struck me down previously. Not just your faction, but you specifically. Chief Glenn 149 and the Winter Wolf. Hey, how's it going, contraption? Alright, we've got a Count of the East, a Patrician of the Coast. Now we just need ourselves a Grandee of the South. Missed out on the last few? Oh, it's all good. That's why I've been doing it for multiple days. That way, everyone gets a chance. We're doing a new dynasty today. Previously, we did the Morgan line. And so we had the Barons, the Chiefs, and the Patricians. I won the first two, and then the Chiefs won the third. So now we're doing some with the Counts of the East, the Grandees of the South, and we decided to have a returning faction be the Patricians. So we just need one more, and then we can go ahead and get this underway. We need ourselves a Grandee. So for those who are just now tuning in to the stream, you can join with !join, and then if you have the game, you can type in a region, and then also you will type in he, she, they to put in your preferred pronouns. As a beastman of the north. Yeah. Glenn was a fearsome chief in another timeline. In this timeline, he is one of the noble patricians. Yeah. So, how have you been, chat? Playing any interesting games recently? Also, shame on me, I need to reinstall the extension. It's a bit of a pain in the butt to have to uninstall and reinstall extensions, but let's go ahead and activate. It's now active. There we go. Alright, so coming back over to this. Let's see here. Alright, cool. The extension should be live. Just be getting over it with Bennett Foddy? Ooh, how was that contraption? That sounds like it was an experience. One-hour run after 13 hours of practice throughout the last few years. It was well worth it in the end. Hell yeah. Hour run, that's impressive. Yeah. That game can be rather enraging, I've heard. See, we got a couple more people. If you want to, feel free to type !join and then your preferred pronoun, he, she, they. We need one more player, and then we can get things underway for King Quincy of the Shale Dynasty. All we need is one more, so we can get ourselves a Grandy. And I'm sure that that will cause all kinds of chaos. Because I know the Counts are a not very religious faction, but the Grandees are the religious faction. So I'm sure this will be, absolutely fine and have no sort of repercussions having these two factions in the same game. I mean, the Grandees try to spread the faith while the Counts try to perform questionable rituals. All right, while we wait for some people, I'm going to go ahead and go grab a drink. I'll be back in a moment. Alrighty, I am back with a drink. Any Grandies? Ah, no Grandies yet. Soon, soon. Build it and they will come. you know? So let's see here. Contraption's been playing Getting Over It. How about you, Glenn? What have you been up to recently? Also, I see we have a couple more viewers. So, you can join with !join and then he, she, they. And it'll filter you into one of our factions. Once we have one more player, we can get this show on the road. So we just need one brave soul to step up. Step forward. Claim your birthright. Hey, how's it going, Vermeer? Not much. Got off work, came home, set up, and here we are with a new dynasty. We'll be playing as King Quincy, the predecessor of Quincy. He's of the Shale dynasty. We've got ourselves the Counts of the East, the Grandees of the South, and the Patricians of the Coast. We just need ourselves a Grandee before we can begin. 6 hours of dishes today? Oof! Dang, they really do be like that sometimes, huh? $11 an hour plus some extra pay because I sleep at the same place. Fair. It's not a bad deal. No, I should mean to say that you're sleeping at work, which can be a bit rough. It's a great deal. I get paid for sleeping. Fair. Fair enough. Getting paid to sleep is always fun. Hey, we have a grandee. Let's go, gentlemen. Brother and some friends here too, but the dishes was not on my fingerprints. Will soon be burnt off. Ooh, jeez. Alright, so we've got 2 counts of the east, a grandee of the south, and a patrician of the coast. Killer Man has finally been extradited from the patricians and sent over to the grandees. Alright, here we go. King Quincy. Alright, council introduction. Let's meet the nobles. Now that you're the king, your first duty is to meet with the council of nobles. Your nobles hail from all across the kingdom. The desolate east, the wealthy coast, and of course, the scorching south. Introduce yourself to the council of the east. Count Unknown Contraption, an honor to finally make your acquaintance. Your Highness, may you escape the doom that befell your predecessor. Foreboding. Lord Patrician Glen 149. A pleasure, your august majesty. I hope to see our kingdom prosper and grow wealthy under your reign. Charmed. Grandee Killerman 0922. May the 9th god bless your reign, your highness. I trust you will conduct yourself with honor and faith. I will endeavor to do my best. With that, introductions are done. The council hall immediately fills with raised voices as the nobles argue with each other and demand your favor. You sigh and sit back. Is this what the council is like? No wonder your father told you to avoid the throne at all costs. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and have our coronation, shall we? Your Majesty, I've scheduled your coronation to take place in a week's time. Why the hurry? To delay any longer would make the nobles restless. And when nobles get restless, they take their daggers and look for the nearest back. They wouldn't dare! You should pay more attention to your history books, Your Majesty. The nobles are always plotting something. As is tradition, the council will decide what happens at your coronation. Let's get this over with, then. Shall we call the nobles in? Alright. I don't think it needs much explaining, but just in case. You can vote with exclamation point vote and then the letter of the option that you would like to vote for. I am able to apply laws to affect what, essentially, the options are to vote for. I can veto to remove one, put my own personal vote on one, but I leave it in your capable hands, my nobles. You can type vote and then A, B, C, or D to cast your vote. Let thy will be known. Let's see here. We got foreign dignitaries, 2 votes, and 1 Vimer wants to throw me in the river. Alright, 5 seconds left. Alright. It's an even split. Meaning I get to choose. So we can boost our trade across the board at more than having our treasury and also making you guys wealthier. I'll take the hit. Yeah, they're out for blood. I'm willing to take it to save my treasury. It is decided. The king will be thrown in the river. Let me get changed out of my nice robes. The nobles pick you up and carry you to the Treadwater River, hurling you into the shallow water with a cheer. When you climb back up the banks, soaking wet, the Chancellor steps forward and places the crown upon your head. Is it your imagination, or some of the nobles' stifling giggles? Your Majesty, when you die, how do you hope the kingdom will remember you? That's a good question, Spy Master. Let's see here. Maybe I should have bit the treasury bullet. I want to be the architect of a new golden age. A lofty goal indeed. I suggest over the next few years, you focus on improving the kingdom's overall trade as much as possible. Money is nice, I guess. True, Vamur. Once you have an heir, I will return to discuss how your ambition is progressing. Good luck, Your Majesty. Alright, that is the end of the first season. Also, wow, what a map. We got the coast bordering with Tavalin and Ashmead, the south bordering with Ashmead, and the east is all of the north and the east. Alright, scheme for the counts. Mikor of the Vamur dynasty, well-known Eastern elder, leans delicately on a podium, whispering carefully. My fellow counts, in ancient times the East was its own proud kingdom. We can bring back those days of glory, but not while the false King Quincy wears the crown. Is there a Discord server? I need to create a Discord server. That said, counts, this one is for you. You can either do sorcery, ascension, or possession. Yeah. A Discord server is something I have been meaning to set up, Vimmer. It's, well, actually, I have tomorrow off, so I'll probably do it tomorrow before I do my streams and all that. Because I think I'll finally have a day off for the first time in ages. Sorcery. Raise authority. Okay. The counts plan to make a bargain with a wizard. These immortal spellcasters seldom get involved in political squabbles, but perhaps if the king was considered a threat to their autonomy. To advance their scheme, the counts must raise authority to 5 or more in 2 seasons. Scheme for the Grandees. Zacynthia, of the Katori Blueberry lineage, eccentric political mastermind, stands bathed in sunshine, speaking softly. A false pretender occupies the throne, while my claim is ignored. Grandees of the South, this is a stain on our honor. We must not allow it to go unanswered. Alright, so what scheme should the Grandees pursue to overthrow the new king and place their preferred claimant, Zacynthia, on the throne? Subterfuge, intimidation, or uprising? We've got 2 Grandees, and they are unanimous. They want intimidation. Okay. Alright. The Grandees plan to hold the king hostage in his own palace. First, they must lull the spy master into a false sense of security. To advance their scheme, the Grandees must raise stability to 5 or more in 4 seasons. And now, patricians. Euless, of the Glen 149 family, infamous Navy admiral, scribbles with a well-used quill on a hardwood desk, muttering in frustration. Fellow patricians of the coast, my claim to the throne is far more legitimate than that of King Quincy. Something must be done. So, Glen 149, as you are our only patrician, it's up to you. We've got doppelganger, conspiracy, or corruption. You either lower own defiance, lower the treasury, or lower authority. Gotta pull the Mind Goblin strat. Uh-oh. No! I fell for it! No, Killer Man, please! Mercy! Defiance is such a bait. I feel you there. Because I can definitely manipulate it with, like, Honor Guard. And taxes. The patricians plan to turn the throne into a commodity that can be bought and sold at will. First, they must ensure that the rule of law is crumbling. To advance their scheme, the patricians must lower authority to 4 or less in 3 seasons. Well, so if I have 5, it's counts. If I have 4, it's patricians. Jeez, you guys are not making it easy for me. Alright. So we've got Mycor, Zacynthia, and Euless. Alright, you have your goals. Let's see here. Royal gamble, anonymous voting, or call for unity. We're going to take royal gamble, I suppose. How's King feeling today? King is feeling pretty confident. Pretty good so far. A fishy wedding. Your Majesty, the Archduke of Saul has invited you to his forthcoming wedding. Your attendance would help shore up relations between our two great nations. By all that glitters, great nation, the Isle of Saul is nothing more than a nest of pirates and cutthroats. Geez, Glen149. As well as Dorian. And I heard it isn't a proper marriage anyway. The Archduke is marrying a fish. The groom is a finfolk, one of the denizens of the sea, perfectly sapient and actually amphibious. Well, the church doesn't agree with a man marrying a fish. We mustn't legitimize this farce by allowing the king to attend. So, our options are, of course the king should attend the wedding, the king will not attend but will send his warm regards, or condemn the wedding and sever diplomatic ties to the Isle of Saul. Yeah, I'll let you all have at it. I don't have any additional input that I want to do on this, so let's see. Alright, Grandees say the king should attend the wedding. Oh boy. That's because it gives stability. That's why they're voting for it. Alrighty. Voting has ended. Who wants an unstable kingdom? Of course, we don't want to have that happen. So, of course the king should attend the wedding. Oh boy. Excellent. The wedding is scheduled for next year. I'll inform the Archduke that you shall be delighted to attend. This kingdom is sliding into madness. When it's announced that you will attend the wedding, the patricians are naturally scandalized. But the peasants, sentimental as ever, are in favor of your decision. Public opinion turns against the overly strict church. Oh boy. Now then, let's see here. The Gossamer Shield. Count Vermeer. Your Majesty, heed my plea. A great tragedy of our time has befallen the East. A demon's hatched from the ground? Worse even than that, I fear. An order of once great knights has fallen into disrepute. It's the Order of the Gossamer Shield, Your Highness. They were once the greatest of the knightly orders to serve the counts. Their virtues were extolled by bards across the lands, tales that would make a troll weep. But they've been brought low. They're working as glorified bounty hunters for the South. This is a stain on the honor of the East. Grandee Katori Blueberry. Nonsense! Our military has suffered some setbacks recently, so we hired Gossamer Security to keep order. For a pretty penny, I might add. Military is now capable, but some Grandee's wealth has decreased. Gossamer Security has been solving the problems we once solved, and kicking the buttocks we want kicked. Seventh, take us, Gossamer Security. How has it come to this? These are knights, not mercenaries, and they need reminding of a little thing called chivalry. Please, Your Highness, I beg the council to be reasonable. Alright, so we can either recall the order and restore its courtly dignity, invest in Gossamer Security to help protect the South, hire the order to join the Palace Watch, or ignore the situation. Let's see here. I'm going to veto restoring their courtly dignity because I want trade, and that hurts trade. So, here we go. I leave it up to you, my nobles. Let thy will be known. 5 seconds left. All right. One count out alone versus all the rest. The Order of the Gossamer Knights remain happy mercenaries in the south, enjoying the spoils of their labor. Slowly, the grandees rebuild their garrisons. Military is now strong. But the counts are not happy. Some openly complain about you, and rumors start going around about your unwillingness or inability to preserve tradition. Ouch! Okay. Honor Guard. One evening, you're sitting up in bed, reading some paperwork, when a filth-encrusted peasant wanders into your bedchambers as bold as brass. Hello, you Madge. Glad I finally found you. This bloody place is a maze. Mind if I take a seat? Who are you? Oh, me? Name's Ralph, you Madge. Pleased to meet you. Listen, I've got a bloody great idea for you. What if we tied a bunch of birds to a knight? I reckon you could field some aerial troops and totally dominate the battlefield. Before Ralph can explain further, your marshal bursts into the bedchamber, sword drawn. Your Majesty, I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. I have no idea where the Palace Watch are. Do you want me to kill this intruder? Yes, kill him. He's speaking nonsense. The marshal's sword flashes, parting the peasant's head from his shoulders. Blood spurts across your favorite duvet. Gasp, how could that happen? If one thing's clear from this mess, it's that you need an honor guard who can actually keep you safe, not like the pathetic watch. Think carefully, Your Majesty. These guards' loyalties will be divided between you and their region. Of course, you could just hire foreign mercenaries. They'd be loyal to coin above all. Tell me about the Eastern Knights. The Order of the Drowned Rose are highly respectable. They'll understand palace etiquette, but it's been years since they fought an actual battle. They mostly write poems these days. Alright. Alright, tell me about the Coastal Gladiators. A gang of low-born crooks who've turned themselves into celebrities through their skill at chopping other people to bits. They're vain and selfish. But their skill in battle is undeniable. However, can you trust them? Tell me about the Southern Battle Nuns. I'm sorry. Battle Nuns? Terrifying warriors. And they've sworn a vow of silence, so at least they won't spill state secrets. But their faith and loyalty to the church above all. Faith and loyalty is to the church above all, even your safety. I made my decision. We are going to go with the Eastern Knights. I'm a sucker for rose aesthetics. Check my username. Order of the Drowned Rose. Hopefully that's not foreshadowing. The knights arrive a few weeks later. They are all extremely pale and extremely polite. The commander introduces herself with a florid bow before reading out a poem she's written for the occasion. Alrighty. In season. So, now we are at the auction. I don't believe I need to explain, but just in case, you can use !fund, then X and Y, where X is the letter of the building and Y is the amount. So you'd say Fund A 100, for example. For now, let's go ahead and get this underway. Our king is of Count heritage or what? Alright, so far F and C are in the lead. Trying to lower authority. Man, you guys are going to collapse authority before we even, get anywhere. If we hit 0 authority, that'll be quite the issue. We'll see. Alright, it's between B and F, 20 seconds remaining. Patricians made it? Yes. I decided I was going to leave the Chiefs out because they won the previous game. So, it was between the Barons and the Patricians, and there was a call for Patricians. 3, 2, 1... Time's up. Alrighty. The building's funded. We've got the theater, reducing authority, funded 950 by Lord Patrician Glen 149, and the monument, raising authority by Vimur. Let's go with a 901 contribution. Kings will have 0 authority and then call it quite an issue. Yeah, it's, you know, it's a bit of an oopsie daisy. Alright, let's see about finding a spouse. In the twisty passages of your castle, you can avoid your advisors, the nobles, even the spy master. But there's one person you can't avoid. Your mother. Why haven't you found a spouse yet? It's been almost a year. I've been busy, Mom. You'd better find the time. Don't worry, I'll take the liberty of finding eligible candidates. What's your preference, men, women, or do you not mind at all? Women? Excellent. I'll send out messengers to the most influential noble families in the kingdom. Let's see what they have to offer. Is there a way for me to re-patrician? So they actually did add in a feature to the game recently, which is for specifically premium people, which is they own the game on Steam basically, where at the join option you would type join, then pronoun, and then your region that you would like to join. So you would say join he patrician, essentially. But that is a premium feature, I believe. Your Honor, my client would like to play Oopsie Daisy. Alright. Lord Patrician Glen 149. Your Serene Highness, Your Serene Highness! Something most strange has occurred in the Ghost Sea. A new island has risen, halfway between our shores and the Isle of Sail. The Finfolk raised it from the depths using their weird ocean magic. It's true, Your Majesty. The Finfolk raised the island to celebrate the marriage of the prince to the Archduke of Sail. They will gift it to him on the day of the ceremony. This is terrible news. That island is of immense strategic importance. We can't let it fall into Salish hands. So we can either send the king to conduct secret negotiations with the Finfolk, the king shall just attend the wedding as planned, pay a wizard to sink the island, or send the king to seduce the Finfolk prince, sabotaging the wedding. I leave it in your capable hands. Let's see what you come up with. We got all kinds of options here. Looks like the patricians are putting up a unified front. Grandee Katori Blueberry joins them. It's unanimous. Wow. I was fully expecting that to be vote for D just for the memes. I admit it. I thought I was going to have to go seduce the Finfolk prince. It's either that or maybe you're all dyslexic. Alright. Ugh, but I want that island. That island is hosting a very important wedding in a few months, and is also the dowry. Surely I don't have to explain the diplomatic importance of such an event and the king's attendance. I wanted to, but they wouldn't let me. You don't always have to agree with your faction. T-Ziton. So chill today. Alright. Grandee Killerman 0922. This simply can't go on, Your Majesty. These arch-boffins think they know everything, and they know nothing of the Ninth God's wrath. Please, Your Majesty, we found a perfect site for an observatory high in the southern hills, but it's on Grandee Killerman 0922's lands, and he refuses to let us build there. Such things are heresy. The stars are just as big and close as the Ninth God intended. Who put you up to this idea, I bet it was one of those patricians, like just a casual businessman. So, we can either allow the construction of the observatory, find a different site for the observatory, forbid it, or forbid construction and investigate the scholars' funding. And let's see here. And we're not just going to find a different site. I want chaos. Let chaos reign. King Quincy is here to see what happens. Ooh. Grandees do not want any observatories on their lands. Patrician Glenn wants to take it a step further, though. Ooh, both the patricians want to take it a step further. But looks like we are simply forbidding the construction of the observatory. This is very disappointing, Your Majesty. The Grandees are standing in the way of progress. Don't listen to her counsel. The Ninth God will reward you for your dedication. I'm sure of it. Truly spying machines. Alright, let's end the season. Alright, recruiting a wizard. In the east, Count Vermeer stands on the ramparts of his castle, watching a flock of bats pass before the moon. Any luck finding a wizard to aid our cause? Count Unknown Contraption. No, I'm afraid not. King Quincy is weak, and the wizards are satisfied that they needn't worry about royal meddling in their affairs. Blood and stars, we must try harder. The Count's aim is to raise authority to 5 or more. Have a good one, Vermeer. Have a good sleep. Alright. So, whenever we get to one of these tax seasons, there will also be the trade bonus. The higher your trade in your region, the more likely you are to have your region receive the trade bonus. This bonus was the Grandees received 500 wealth from the Ninth God. You suspect tax fraud. The other nobles gained 200 wealth. Tax fraud, you say? Do I need to tax the Grandees a little bit? Something tax fraud? Tax fraud is a crime, Grandees. You've committed no wrongs. Okay. Alright, we'll keep it on the common tax for now. Fair enough. Don't believe them? Proof? You have no proof. This is outrageous. Okay, okay. Fine. We'll see about next tax season, however. Eligible options. I found 3 potential matches for you. 1 eligible young woman from each of the kingdom's 3 regions. Choose wisely. You'll be securing a powerful alliance. What if I don't want to marry any of them? That's a decision that can wait until after you've seen them, isn't it? Your mother leads you to the Great Hall, where she's arranged 3 portraits on easels. For now, each is covered by a cloth. Wait, I don't get to meet them? There's no time for sentiment. You just need a match that befits your station and suits your political needs. She whisks away the cloth from the first portrait. This is Xenia, the oldest daughter of the Eastern T-Zaitan dynasty. Apparently, they had a hell of a time getting her to smile for this portrait. Spends most of her time indoors, poring over musty tomes. She's obsessed with her family's legacy. She's an intriguing candidate. From the coast, we have Camilla, the wealthy heiress to the Lord Patrician just a casual businessman's estate. I mean, just look at her. She's gorgeous, and apparently she's got a silver tongue, too. She loves to lose her fortune betting at the arena. There was also a scandal recently where she was publicly critical of the church. Nothing came of it. I like the sound of her. And finally, from the south, Bellona, the eldest daughter of the Katori Blueberry lineage. She's reputed to have an ego the size of the sun, but there's nothing wrong with confidence, right? She's been in more duels than I can count, and won them all. All her duels have been practiced, she says, for a final showdown on the horizon. Not bad. Not bad at all. What do you think? Of course, by picking a candidate, you'll anger the other regions, but you'll gain a lifelong alliance. So we've got shy, nerdy introvert from the east who has trouble smiling and is obsessed with her family legacy. We've got the gorgeous coastal babe who likes to bet all of her money at the arena and lose, basically, and is publicly critical of the church. Gasp. And Bellona, the tomboy duelist, been in more duels than I can count and won them all. Who's looking to prepare for a final duel? Please vary it up, my smart daughter. Alright. I have made my decision. You said you want variety, T. Zayton? I've done 3 streams previously, and in that lineage, I picked one from each region, each time. I refuse to marry any of them. Without a marriage, you are alone. No alliance and no support, not to mention an insult to the most powerful families in the kingdom. What possible reason could you have for choosing not to marry? My heart already belongs to another, a low-born commoner. A commoner? Is that who you've been sneaking out of the palace to meet? The nobles will not be pleased, though I'm sure the common folk will swoon over it. Kings don't have the luxury of freedom. You'll learn that sooner or later. There you go. There's your variety, T. Zayton. Previously, I've picked one from each region in each playthrough. I haven't tried that before, though. It's good to be loved by the peasantry. And I'm attending a fishfolk gay wedding. Let's go. Lord Patrician Glen 149. Your esteemed highness, in a few days you'll be traveling to the Archduke of Saul's controversial wedding. Surely there's a way we could turn this to our advantage. We must forge an alliance with Saul. They have fast ships and, with this new island outpost, control over most of the Ghost Sea. The council has awarded you a singular yike, my liege. You also haven't married east or south? True. However, this was the one that felt the funniest. Or you could publicly object to this blasphemous union of man and fish. You can't seriously expect me to disrupt the wedding. This is a matter for the council, I believe. Chancellor. Alright, I'm not publicly objecting to the union. I'm sorry. I'm vetoing that option. I'll leave it up to you, though, my nobles. Glenn149 just wanting me to go and attend the wedding like a normal human being. Everyone else wants to try and seek an alliance. Oh man, my authority is crumbling, but I let chaos reign, and it's hilarious. Alrighty. Also, let's see here. Yeah, contraption is still in here. Yeah, I noticed. I can't type. In theory, that first one should have worked. Exclamation point, vote A. Also had like an extra space after it or something. What the fuck happened to the march? We are on a new timeline. New dynasty. You are no king in your kingdom, but at least it's stable. Yeah, there is no march. Yeah, we have the grandees of the south, patricians of the coast, and the counts of the east. Alright, so we're going to try and seek an alliance with Sale. Well, the council has spoken. Good luck, your esteemed highness. Soon the time has come. You board a ship and sail to the newly risen island where the Archduke of Sale is due to marry his Finfolk groom. Lacking a spouse, you have chosen the Chancellor as your +1. Oh, I do love weddings, though I always end up in a flood of tears. At last the new island crests the horizon. English is my only language. It doesn't mean I'm good at it. I have an NA education. It's an empty little rock, devoid of vegetation, with no buildings except a marquee and a hastily constructed church of the ninth. But it's packed with people, mostly minor nobles of Sale, who welcome you with cheers and bows. You file into the church. As the ceremony begins, the Finfolk prince walks down the aisle while the Archduke of Sale waits with clasped hands. Does anyone here know any lawful impediment to these two people being joined in marriage? Let chaos reign. Let chaos. Then I now pronounce you married. Oh man, I was tempted. Oh man, I was so tempted to object, but honestly, having the Finfolk around more frequently, that is long-term chaos. That's that then. Time for a party. Everyone crowds into the marquee to get incredibly drunk. As you're making the rounds, chatting and gobbling canapes, you find yourself face to face with the Archduke. Your Majesty, thank you for coming. A toast to my new husband and I. I can see you're very much in love. Well, yes, and the island dowry doesn't hurt. Would you be interested in an alliance between Sale and my kingdom? It depends. What do you have to offer me? Our finest cuisine. I do love your buttered turnips. Very well, an alliance is born. Now, let's enjoy the party. I think we passed that because we had decent farming. Like, holy shit. I think that's the only reason that option appeared. You celebrate long into the night and wake with a thudding headache. When you arrive back at the capital, the council is pleased that you followed their advice. Exactly. This alliance will bring us great fortune, your esteemed highness. The new island proves to be immensely beneficial for Saul, and for you, their new ally. The Archduke is happy to share his trade routes with your merchants. Let's go. Trade spikes. My goodness. Some patricians' wealth has increased. Just a casual businessman rolling in the dough. Alrighty. Disquiet in the south. Grandee Killerman 0922. Your Holiness, my peasants accuse me of hoarding wealth. Me! Worse, they're throwing down their tools and burning their belongings, saying they want to live an ascetic life, and that I should do the same. They want to have more exercise? No, not athletic, ascetic. They don't want to be pinned down by worldly possessions, but burning them is quite the overreaction. The ringleader of this movement is a philosopher called Ortega. She calls herself a voice for the ninth god, and the peasants hang on her every word. They'll be at my door any moment. So, we can either send someone to infiltrate the cult, aggressively break up Ortega's meetings, or fire the troublemakers and hire new servants from the coast. I leave it up to you. Alrighty. Let's see here. Ooh. Patricians are split. Grandee's looking towards A to keep up that faith. Even split? Ayo. We got a couple more nobles potentially. Oh, just a casual businessman swinging in at the last second. Alright. We can fire the troublemakers and hire new servants from the coast. I see. Defiance is now cordial. Some patricians' wealth has increased. Oh, Lord, they're rolling in it. Some grandees lose wealth. Alright, but meanwhile, more and more southern servants discard their possessions to follow Ortega's teachings. Okay, so we didn't actually resolve that issue, which is scary. Alright. Wallowing in corruption. In a dingy seaside tavern, two patricians of the coast meet to plot their latest scheme. Lord Patrician Glenn 149. Good news, my friend. The palace officials have been accepting my bribes. They're becoming more and more open to corruption. What are you getting in return? Oh, not much. A better seat in the council chambers, access to the king's room when he's out, that sort of thing. But the important thing is that the king's staff are getting used to selling their principles to the highest bidder. So what next? Palace staff are one thing, but the true prize would be the loyalty of the Chancellor and the rest of the king's inner circle. To do that, we need to demolish their respect for the king. If the kingdom is in chaos, they will see the king as an incompetent fool and be much more open to our bribes. To advance their scheme, the patricians must lower stability to 4 or less in 3 seasons. And I'm going to swap out Royal Gamble for Monarch's Golden Choice. Alright. Ooh. Okay. A secret romance or troll in the dungeon? A secret romance. I'm sorry, It's near impossible to sneak out of the palace at night. The palace watch keep catching you and dragging you back to your bedroom. But tonight you've managed it. Bundled up in a dark cloak and hood, you head out to the capital's market district. Your true love is waiting for you on a bridge. Your love's name is, of course, Jane. She rushes into your arms and presses her mouth to yours. It's a while before anything needs to be said aloud. My love, it's been months since we last saw each other like this. Every night I've dreamt of you. And I of you, but why did it take so long? The Palace Watch realized I was sneaking out. Oh, it must be such a hardship to be the ruler of the entire kingdom, Your Majesty. Also, I just realized she was tagged as a Grandee. She can't get through those last two words without breaking into laughter. What happened to the brash young prince who snuck out of the palace so he could see the real world? That was when you met the love of your life, in case you forgot. A lot has changed since then. You're still just a stupid kid in my eyes. Why don't we head back to your place? You and Jane return to her tiny cottage and spend the night together. As usual, you must sneak back into the palace before dawn. Before you leave, she catches your arm. I'm tired of waiting, my love. I can't live like this. We need to get married in the eyes of the ninth god for all to see. But I'm the king, you're a lowborn, nobles will never stand for it. Can we just keep this a secret? Let's get married. Thank you, my love. Oh, this is so exciting. I can't wait. You put up your hood and sneak back to the palace. I'm doing it, chat. I'm doing it live. Alright, and we have a troll in the dungeon, apparently. Your Majesty, the Palace Watch are reporting that there's a troll downstairs in the dungeon. What's a troll? Violent, brutish creatures. I have no idea how one got into our dungeon, but we better do something about it. Troll in the dungeon. Thought you might like to know. Let me talk with this troll instead. Your Majesty, I'm not sure that's wise. You stride past her and descend into the dungeons. Two watch officers stand guard over a troll who's snoring in the middle of an empty cell. Seems to have torn a hole in a dungeon wall. How did it even get in here? Through the catacombs would be my guess. These dungeons all back into various tunnels and crypts must have made this hole on its way in. What are the catacombs? A maze of tunnels and crypts that crisscross the whole city. Impossible to navigate. Most who go looking for a tomb never come back these days. I say, wake up! You gesture and shout, but the troll barely moves. Officers, poke it until it wakes up. Gingerly, the officers poke the troll with their long poleaxes. After a few rumbling grunts, one eye opens. What? Nice to meet you.
Yes, you too. Who are you?
I'm King Quincy.
What? The King Quincy? Spirits, I must have not been myself last night.
How did you get in here?
My head's pounding like a town bell, so I probably had a few too many red mist cups last night and wandered in here. Wherever here is.
Perhaps you could stay here with us.
Really? Why?
It's nice and warm in here.
That's a nice offer from you, your importantness. But I think I'd rather just get out of your way.
Fine, off you go. Damn it. With that, the creature lumbers out of the room, right through the hole that they created, and back into the catacombs beyond. You order someone to patch it up, and then get back to your bed for some much-needed shut-eye. It's been a very strange night. Well, he was a surprisingly decent fellow. Alright. And the cult has spread, apparently. Lady Patrician, Mystic Kelpie. There's a problem with the followers of that southerner Ortega. Her teachings have spread to the coast. Worse, she's getting stronger. She's performing miracles, healing a woman's broken arm with a single touch, curing an old man's blindness. All over the coast, the citizens are throwing away their goods and cursing the patricians for their greed. They're clashing with priests, even starting brawls in the streets. Every day, we lose more workers to this cult. So, how can this cult be contained? We can join with the church to officially denounce Ortega. 30% chance. If Ortega is performing miracles, she must be recognized as an official member of the church. Authority check. Or have Ortega assassinated. I like that. The moment it starts affecting the patricians, Glenn's just like, yeah, kill her. Kill her dead. Alright, let's see here. So we have the Grandees looking to rally on A. The patricians and the counts currently united against them. Alright. It's just business. Have Ortega assassinated. A little money in the right place sweeps your problems clean away. Authority is now dubious. Alright, we're gaining authority. For now. Kill them dead, Guardian. Kill them dead, Guardian. Dismantle mines, yes. Or you die. In the south, beneath a scorching sun, Grandee Katori Blueberry strolls through his vineyard in the company of a few close friends. Our plans are going better than expected. The spymaster thinks that all is well in the kingdom, and while the cat's away, the mice shall play. Please don't dishonor me by comparing me to a mouse. Speak plainly, or not at all. I apologize, my friend. In plain terms, then. Our next step is to replace the Palace Watch with our own agents. Indeed, the Honor Guard are incorruptible, but the Watch are another story. If the king can't pay them shit, they will look for money elsewhere. For the next stage of their scheme, the Grandees must lower the treasury to 1,500 or less in 2 seasons. Alright. We're okay for now. Alright. So we've got the Counts still on stage 1 for the time being, with Mycor, the embittered step-uncle. We've got Cynthia, the questionable claimant, at stage 2, and Euless, the distant cousin, also on stage 2. Warning, the monarch currently has no heir. I'm aware. I'm getting to it. In a bit. Oh god, it takes so long when you don't just get married. Now I have to arrange it. And... Your Majesty, your insistence on marrying this commoner girl is most unwise. If you proceed, it will be against the recommendations of all your advisors. Didn't ask, don't care, like Chaos Reign. Very well. In that case, I suppose all that remains is to make the announcement. Alright. And I don't have that, so make the announcement in a public speech to the common folk. When you deliver the news to the masses, they raise their voices in a cheer so loud it shakes the podium. It's a fairy tale romance, and the common folk love it. Stability is united, baby. Let's go. The nobles, on the other hand, are furious, especially because you refuse to even tell them in person. Count T. Zeiton, you're destroying centuries of tradition, all because you've gone moon-eyed over some gold-digging peasant? Shameful. Now that the news has been broken, the only thing left is to organize the royal wedding itself. Too stable? It's fine. An invitation. Without a word, Count T. Zeiton hands you a blood-red envelope. It is sealed with white wax in the shape of a skull. Inside is a beautifully written invitation to an event called the Crimson Vigil, due to take place on an autumn night later in the year. What is this all about? I can say no more. You must choose whether to accept our invitation or to decline it. Yeah, I'll attend, sure. I will see you at the next vigil, Your Majesty. I can respect tradition. Yeah, I can respect tradition. I got you. Furious followers. Grandee Killerman 0922. Your Holiness, that troublesome philosopher. Oh. Uh-oh. Are we good? Alright. We have all of our nobles. That was a first. Alright. Your Holiness, that troublesome philosopher Ortega is gone, but her followers are marching on our estates demanding justice. The Scuff proceeds to marry a commoner. Yes. Lady Patricia Mystic Kelpie. It's the same in the coast. They're making her into a martyr. So we can either send the royal army to put a stop to this, ask the church to preach forgiveness on all sides, or pay the grandees to give amnesty to Ortega's former followers. I'm going to put my monarch vote on B. Or actually, what if I put my monarch's golden choice on B? And I'm going to go use the restroom while you all vote. So, BRB. Let thy will be known. Wow, my monarch's golden choice was not enough to sway anybody. Fair enough. We are sending the royal army to put a stop to this. Yeah, I guess that serves both the counts and the patricians' goals. Fair enough. Makes sense that they'd rally on it. Ouch. Your troops charge in and order the farmers back to their lands. Any complaint is met with a blade. Stability is now steady, but authority is now credible. There are rumors of unflattering corn effigies made in your image, but the peasants are too afraid to even whisper Ortega's name. Good. Alright, in season. Recruiting a wizard. In the east, Count Vermeer stands on the ramparts of his castle, watching a flock of bats pass before the moon. Suddenly, the bats swirl down and begin to merge, coalescing into a black-clad figure. Suitably dramatic, I trust. Now, why did you want to meet me? If this isn't good, I'll give you a case of boils, so hideous it'll make your own mother disown you. I thought we might have a common goal. The king has been overstepping his bounds recently, hasn't he?
Well, the King's Watch did order a quarantine recently. Killed off a highly unique strain that I would have enjoyed watching sweep the populace. Fine, I'll help. If you take care of the bees for me.
Did you say bees?
Yes, on this plane they're simple insects, but in the apiary, the world of dreams and magic, they're powerful and intelligent. Call themselves the dreams of being. They have an innate fondness of royalty, and sometimes protect monarchs from magical interference. But they won't harm non-magical folk beyond the occasional sting, so you can deal with them.
For the next stage of their scheme, the counts must lower all regions' combined farming to 14 or less in 4 seasons. The people wish to be fed, my liege. Well, we'll see, because it looks like farming might take a hit here soon. So, nobles, it is time for the auction once more. Go at it. You've got a minute. Exclamation point fund, and then the letter of the building you'd like to build, and how much you want to give. Glenn giving a big fat 1K to the prison. Jeez. I mean, we got another 800 coming out for the Grand Bazaar. I see you, Grandies, raising trade. I appreciate it. Or does this suit your scheme? No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I want to be the architect of a golden age. I appreciate you. We can work together in this. The South knows how to grease some pockets. Also, contraption, you'll want to do letter than number, letter than amount. Ah, time's up. Alright, buildings funded. Grand Bazaar, bonus to trade, funded by Grandy Killerman 0922. And then the prison funded entirely by Glenn149, very generously. Just don't tax us so we can help ourselves. The 9th provides, I suppose. Alright, the royal wedding. Your wedding to Jane is, naturally, the talk of the kingdom. Commoners travel from every corner of the realm to attend. For a week and a day, the capital is one giant party. Many nobles refuse to attend the event. Even now, they're still furious that you're marrying a commoner. On the day of the ceremony, the streets are packed, but St. Bertrand's Cathedral is nearly empty. When you walk down the aisle and see Jane waiting by the altar, her face lit up by the most radiant smile, suddenly, nothing else matters.
Do you take this woman as your lawfully wedded wife?
I do.
Then I pronounce you husband and wife.
Below your station, you married your childhood sweetheart. Let's go! After the wedding, of course, there's a feast, and after the feast, a dance. The nobles refuse to speak to Jane, preferring to mutter among themselves about her low-born status. But you glare at them, and one by one, they shuffle forward and offer their sullen congratulations. By the time you find yourself alone with Jane, it's past midnight, and you've never felt more tired. So, here we are at last, married, after all those years of sneaking around. Can you believe it? It's like a dream. The most wonderful dream. What did you do to get the nobles to agree with that? Let's not worry about it tonight. You're right. Maybe if we pray to the 9th, this night can last forever. Care to join me in bed? No time like the present, eh? She swigs back the last dregs of her wine and leads you to bed. Wow, this is a lot fancier than my old cottage. Let's go, baby! Childhood low-born sweetheart for the win! Alright, the Crimson Vigil. The Crimson Vigil takes place in a bleak castle atop an eastern hill. Your journey takes weeks, and your baggage train keeps getting stuck in bogs. Guests at the Crimson Vigil compete on who can dress in the most ghoulish and frightening costume. What did you dress as? Ooh. Alright, I can't break the bank too hard here. But we can be a demon with horns, cloven hooves, and red skin, and not break our bank by 5. Let's go! As you're assessing your appearance, Count T. Zeiton sweeps in, dressed as a living corpse.
Welcome, welcome. I see you are dressed as one of the servants of the seventh god. How delightfully blasphemous.
Please remember to stay in the upper levels. The dungeons are out of bounds.
In the ballroom, you find the counts gathered, all dressed as frightening monsters. Wolfmen, pumpkinheads, witches. A waiter glides past, holding a tray of canapes. A pianist plays a mournful tune.
The Crimson Vigil begins at midnight. What role will you play? A mourner? Or are you willing to portray a hound of the betrayer?
Can you tell me more about these roles?
Surely you are familiar with our customs, Your Majesty. If you are unsure, you should stick to being a mourner.
I will play a mourner.
Your ceremonial role is to stand among the other mourners and wait for the hounds to catch the king in exile. After that, just follow what the other mourners do. Good luck.
The counts gather. After Count T. Zeiton delivers a short speech about remembering the old ways, a flaming crown is placed upon his head.
I will be playing the king in exile this evening. The hounds of the betrayer will try to catch me, but fear not. I am swift as a falling star, and old as the hills.
Stand among the other mourners. T. Zeiton runs down the corridor, flames licking behind him, pursued by dozens of counts in monstrous costumes. It's a bizarre sight. Wait. Half an hour later, T. Zeiton is dragged back, his crown still smoldering. One by one, the other mourners drop to their knees in a posture of worship. Bowed before the captured king in exile. You drop to your knees, and the counts smirk at the fact that their king has knelt. The ceremony concludes with a mock execution and a bottle of red wine spilled over T. Zeiton's head. I can respect your traditions, counts. After that, the music is more cheerful. The counts dance and chat long into the night. At dawn, you board your carriage and begin the long journey back to the capital. Well, that was fun. I had a good time. Now then, who made a deal with the witch? Count Vimer. Excuse me? Nothing is wrong. Absolutely nothing is wrong in the East. That calls for a celebratory glass of wine, I think. There's definitely not an old witch who lives at the border of my lands, and I definitely haven't been having money troubles. Most importantly, she didn't offer me a fortune in exchange for just a drop of my blood, an offer which I absolutely didn't accept. Great stuff. Where's my wine? Ever since I didn't accept the witch's bargain, I haven't found myself obeying her every command. I definitely still rule over my estate, not her. Furthermore, she didn't forbid me from telling you any of this, and I'm not using negative statements to bypass her magic. Hang on, I'm starting to think you mean the opposite of what you say. No, Your Majesty, that's not the case. It isn't? Damn, guess I'm wrong. Count Vimer looks like he's about to cry. Damn, I guess I was wrong. Let's fetch the court physician to see if we can lift your curse. After a week confined to a cold iron box with nothing to eat but salt, the magic stops affecting Count Vimer so strongly. He's even able to talk about his ordeal directly. I always tolerated that bloody witch. She'd sell medicine to the peasants and help them find lost sheep. I never suspected she was capable of something like this. We need to call a vote, send a regiment to take back my stolen lands. So we can either take back Count Vermeer's lands, take back Vermeer's land but let the witch go free, or we can let Vermeer suffer the consequences of his bargain. My liege, the farms. Yes, true. We can't just let the farms suffer. So what's it going to be? Ooh. For the first time in a while, the grandees are split. Alright. Looks like we're going to let Vermeer suffer the consequences of his bargain. You mean I have to live with that old peasant woman lording it over me? No, I'm taking my lands back. We can either arrest Count Vermeer for resisting the will of the council, or we can let him go. Let him go. Ah, rip. When the eastern troops arrive on Count Vermeer's estate, the land itself fights them. The soil swallows them whole. Trees snatch them up and tear them apart. Holy shit. Dame done. By the time they fight their way through the manor, the witch has already escaped, along with what remained of Vermeer's gold. Brutal. The peasants have no memory of their time under the witch's rule, but the churches have been burned, with profane messages scrawled on their charred walls, and the fields have been sown with salt. Ouch. Fair enough. Blackmail and bribery. Meanwhile in the south, Grandee Katori Blueberry has invited his closest associates to his manor house for some wine and cheese and treason. And you're off by 5 gold, baby! Some of our bribes have been accepted, but not enough. The king is paying the palace watch well enough that their loyalties aren't easily swayed. So we have some of the watch in our pocket. Isn't that enough? No, not yet. We can't make a move until we're sure we won't be discovered. The Grandee's stat goal is to lower the treasury to 1,500 or less. At the villa. Sitting on a bench outside a sun-bleached villa, 2 patricians of the coast meet to plot their latest scheme. Lord Patrician Glenn 149. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? The birds are singing, the market's in full swing. Do you hear that on the wind? Can you make out the laughter of children playing a game? Ah, yes. Delightful. Wrong! It's horrible! The kingdom is totally serene, and our plans are in ruins! The king's advisors are happy with his rule. We can't buy their loyalty yet. Believe me, I've tried. The patrician's aim is to lower stability to 4 or less. Alright. Tax time. The Grandee's vineyards provide a bountiful harvest, making 500 wealth. Other nobles gain 200 wealth. Damn. Patricians with capped out maximum trade. And they can't they can't get the trade bonus. So let's see here. Is it time for some of those taxes, Grandees? Is it finally time? Farming diff. So about that gift from the 9th god last tax season, can we go back to that real quick? Exclamation point, rebel. What do you mean? You see, what gift? You claimed that the 500 wealth you each acquired was a gift from the 9th god? I'll have you know, tax fraud is a very serious crime in my kingdom. Ah, yes. So it was tax fraud, Katori. In which case you owe back taxes. to me the king. It was a gift. And are there any who can corroborate your story? Patricians need to be taxed heavily, my liege. They haven't paid their dues. Ooh, they are sitting on quite the hefty sums. The grandees do make a pretty solid point. Ask the Grand Inquisitor. What did I do? Some people think you might be getting a little too rich over there, patricians. Even you, Glen149, down on your luck as you are. So I cruel tax both the grandees and the patricians, right? Patricians are bathing in gold. We are so poor. It's true. You do only have 500. You only have what you were able to gain from this bountiful harvest of your vineyards. Cruel counts, so equality. Ooh. Equality in my feudal society? Now that is chaotic. Even the counts are richer. We just know how to save our money to help the king. I do like having money. Sir, I invited you to my blood feast. I can't deny the Crimson Vigil was certainly something, though I can't say I'm the biggest fan of being made to bend the knee, even when playing pretend. Don't think I've forgotten. But wine. Yes, as I recall, the red wine was poured over T. Zayton's head. Got wine poured on me for you? I don't even drink. Rose, I'll be in your pocket for the next season if you don't. If I don't do what? If I don't spare the grandees, don't spare the counts, or if I don't tax the patricians? Also, Glenn, no offense, you are one of the weaker nobles in terms of power right now. You have less sway in the auction house, and can you guarantee that the rest of the patricians may try to help me? Done no harm, leave us alone. Oh man, Kellerman throwing shade. Glen149, you can assure me the loyalty of Mystic Kelpie and just a casual businessman? I'm loyal to money. So, what you're saying, just a casual businessman, is that if the patricians are not so heavily taxed, and they are able to keep more of their wealth, that I would be able to have your loyalty assured for at least a season? We've got quite the debate going on here about taxes. So if I lower the patricians back down to just the common tax, then I have their loyalty assured. I heard rumors that the grandees are trying to run the treasury dry, so those guys should be taxed the most, KW. This is true. You better have some grounds to these rumors, I hope, T. Zayton. though I admit the treasury has been feeling rather light. Grandees. Counts have nothing to offer. We legit have the worst stats for the most annoyed. Spare us, please. Your pleas amuse me. Count Zeiton. Cannot handle the defiance of the people. We just dealt with the witch. So you're saying you may even need a little something extra coming your way? Every penny counts. No, I can't afford to grace any pockets at the moment. Just keeping the norm. Well, since just a casual businessman said we did need equality, I suppose I'll lower the grandees to meet with the common tax. Certainly had to make it a grand ordeal. About your heir. Marriage to Jane has leaped from strength to strength over the past few months. Truly, you've found your soulmate, and every day you count your blessings. It's high time you thought about an heir. Well, you're finally married. I'm very happy, thank you. Your happiness isn't as important as fulfilling your duty to the kingdom, but I'm glad you found a way to have both. You've done well so far, but something's still missing. An heir. You need someone young, whose loyalty is assured. A child of your own would do the trick, even if they're a bastard or the youngest of your many cousins. I plan to adopt a No, I can't. I'm not going to be that crazy chaotic. Unless, what if I did plan to adopt a lowborn child from the orphanage? That could cause all kinds of chaos. Marry a commoner and then don't even have a kid with her, and then adopt another lowborn into high society? Wouldn't that be something, huh? I make her say I don't? Alright, fine. I'll take a month off to go produce an heir. I was going to say, you know, some other, like, euphemism, but yeah, no, just produce an heir. The traditional method. No one will object to that. I'll arrange for you to take a month from ruling, so you can get down to business. Thanks, Mom. Alright, let's see here. A brand new harvester. Lord Patrician, just a casual businessman. Your Serene Highness, the scholars and great thinkers of the South have invented a new farming implement. Some kind of horse-drawn machine that automatically reaps and threshes grain. They call it a wheat eater, and it's revolutionizing agriculture. It would be of great use to us in the coast. Our farms are struggling to keep up with demand, you know. We'll not share the designs with the likes of you, coastal leech. Our people worked hard on that machine. We deserve to reap its rewards, not you. Damn, Katori Blueberry, let them know what you think. So, let's see here. We can either force the grandees to distribute these designs, compensate the grandees for the invention and share it with the other regions, or we can leave the machines in the south only. Let's see here. 2, 2, 2. So, you're either going to share it, grandees, or you're not going to share it. Or, if it comes down to it, no one might have these. We'll see. Let the vote begin. The mayor's ready to die. Another horrible death at the hands of a wizard. Yeah, the wizards seem to have a thing for fireballing people. Oh, wow. It is split even. Jeez. Okay. Two, one. All right. Voting tied at 2. You can either force the grandees to distribute them, leave them in the south only, or halt the production. For the common man. For the common man. We will force the grandees to distribute these designs.
It's tyranny, I tell you. You're punishing innovation and shackling the free market.
It won't like that. In fact, the market doesn't mind much. The machines go a long way to improving agriculture in other regions, making your kingdom more prosperous as a whole. Farming is now fruitful. Farming is now bountiful. How are we supposed to create a food crisis now? Why are you trying to create a food crisis, T. Zayton? You wouldn't happen to be planning anything, are you? Bees crisis. A new trend. Lady Patrician Mystic Kelpie is here to see you, Your Majesty. She wants to sell you, a crab. Of course she does. It's the latest trend along the coast, Your Majesty. The Patricians have started keeping a species of jeweled crab as a fashionable pet. Creatures are so rare that one can now sell for as much as a mansion. Very well, send her in. Lady Patrician Mystic Kelpie. Thank you for seeing me, Your Majesty. I know the price is steep, but I assure you these crabs will only go up in value. Get the hell out of here. Crabs, honestly. What is this kingdom coming to? Alright, end of the season. So, we can now see about changing the laws. We'll go with Monarch's Iron Choice. Uh-oh. A clairvoyant visit? What is this? Understandable, my lord. The farms of the coast and east have been scarce as of late. Count T. Zayton. Your Majesty, Your Grace, Count Unknown Contraption has been having prophetic dreams. It is true. I can part the veil betwixt now and some ways off. Give me a prophecy, then. I look to the future, and it speaks through me. No more, no less. For one thing, Lord Patrician, just a casual businessman, should be aware of onion soup. And the color green will bring bad fortune to Lord Patrician Glen 149. The color green, you say? The color he's currently wearing on his outfits? The color of the faction he's currently representing? But that's my favorite color! Please, Your Majesty, have them foretell the future for the Council. We could gain insight into great mysteries. So, alright, just this once. Begin the visions. Throw the charlatan into the dungeon, or make Count Unknown Contraption an official council advisor. Alright. Have at it. Poor Glenn, unable to catch a break. It'd be like that sometimes. You should be aware of the color green. Gotta be aware of onion soup as well, casual businessman. Alright. Just this once. Begin the visions. Count Unknown Contraption spreads a dark velvet cloth onto the floor, sits cross-legged, and closes their eyes. For a moment's silence. After a moment's silence, they gasp. How exquisite, Your Grace. Something wonderful beyond the veil. Let me gather myself.
so I may understand what lies ahead. Challenge succeeded. Peace and prosperity, Your Highness. I see joy spreading throughout the land. It's time to declare war on the Ashmedian Empire. Treat good fortune with wisdom, Your Grace, for luck can disappear like ashes in a storm. Beaming, Count Tizitan whisked them out. You think you spot a couple of coins changing hands, but you can't be sure. Sure enough, the Chancellor soon reports a new tax treaty with Ashmead. Hey, we're going after Ashmead. Puts the kingdom at a great advantage. Unknown contraption must have known what they're talking about. Stability is now united. Treasury has increased. Alright. We take those. The printing press. We're punishing the grandees for inventing things again. Speaking of which, Grandee Katori Blueberry. Your Holiness, a blacksmith in the south has come up with some sort of printing contraption. Instead of relying on the painstaking effort of scribes, it produces 100 copies of a text an hour. How remarkable. Yes, Your Holiness. Isn't technology wonderful? Lord Patrician, just a casual businessman. Don't you see how dangerous this is? Books should stay in churches and universities, or else commoners will start getting ideas. So we can either allow printing presses to be used by the masses, only the church may use the printing press, only universities may use the printing presses, or forbid the use of printing presses altogether. Let thy will be known, my nobles. Ooh. The counts and the grandees working together at D, while the patricians rally to A? Questions? Questions. We shall see. Ooh, Killer Man splitting the grandee vote, wanting to put it into universities. Okay. Oh, and there it is. The other count, unknown contraption, forces it out. Forbid the use of printing presses altogether. Authority challenge. By the 9th, this is uncalled for. This technology could change the world. Yes, that's what we're afraid of. The blacksmith who first invented this infernal machine is hauled before the council in irons. Your prototype will be smashed to pieces. Your blueprints will be burned to ash. And you will never speak of the so-called printing press again. Do you understand? Yes, my lord. But the blacksmith's invention proves impossible to ban. The blueprints are smuggled out, new printing presses are set up in secret cellars, and more blueprints are printed. As it turns out, these underground publishers are very concerned about your tyrannical attempt to ban their new toy. Thousands of pamphlets are soon circulating, criticizing your iron-fisted rule. For every printing press you root out and destroy, it seems another 10 are built. Well, you see, that's the funny thing. This is implying that the peasants can read. Like, who made them literate, you know? The rewards of prosperity. Lord Patrician, just a casual businessman. Your August Majesty, merchants are visiting the coast from as far away as Valimir or Etesh. Our quarterly figures are stunning. Your quarterly what? Money! Loads of money! Your Highness, the coastal economist has an audacious idea for all his wealth. Call it an experiment. We give the peasants gold whether or not they're working. This will ensure a base level of comfort and security for all. You're one of the socialists? I'm a monarch. Yes, dear. A splendid plan. It would help everyone in the coast live a decent life. Quincy, you'll say yes, won't you? Yes, dear. Depths below, what are you saying? That we should hand out cash for nothing? With respect, how is that different from patricians receiving fees from their serfs? It's completely different, Your August Majesty. This lunacy cannot possibly be considered. So we can either implement this new economic strategy in the coast, encourage merchants to visit other regions across the kingdom too, demand a one-time tax from the patricians, they can afford it,
or host a financial summit in the capital to celebrate the patrician success. Let's see here. You know, greater good, nay, patricians clutching their pearls. I tell you what, my grandees and my counts, I have been kind to you in the past, and I would like to help increase your trade. Vote with me, and let's see about making trade prosperous all across this great kingdom of ours. I'll even throw in a little extra gold for you to make it happen. It's up to you. Everyone putting in their votes on B. Fair. Alrighty. Voting has closed. 6 nobles voted to encourage merchants to visit other regions in the kingdom too.
Dips below, but those are our merchants.
It's tough for the patricians to give up on some of their monopoly. Defiance is now aggrieved. But as merchants extend trade routes across the kingdom, the other regions quickly feel the benefit. More and more counting houses are built, and long-abandoned roads are rebuilt to allow for safe passage of caravans. Let's go! Trade expands, baby. As much as the first idea would serve the greater masses, we cannot fully object. Alright, so we've still got everyone sitting on stage 2, and I still don't have an heir because it took me like 4 seasons to actually get married. Holy shit. I picked the long one, and I still don't have a kid despite taking time to make a kid. The crab bubble bursts. Treasure. Bad news, Your Majesty. A new reef has been discovered, which is overflowing with millions of jeweled crabs. Crab prices are crashing catastrophically. How could this be? The entire kingdom will suffer financially, Your Majesty, with the exception of a few patricians. Curiously, Lady Patrician Mystic Kelpie, the very same patrician who first began the crab craze, recently sold all her crabs at a huge profit just days before the crash. So everyone has lost some wealth, basically. Yep. And Lady Patricia Mystic Kelpie has gained a ton. The crabs. Oh no, the crabs. Something must be done. You summon your council to discuss the crab crisis. Many assembled nobles have invested heavily in the crab market. They are now casting furious glances at the patricians' benches. Tax them now. Let's see here. Let's see here. I believe we can confiscate her ill-gotten gold, and together we can then redistribute it to make sure that all of the nobles are reimbursed sufficiently. I believe that sounds agreeable enough. Or actually, here, let me really sweeten the deal. I know many of you lost money during these trying times. Allow me to help you. Ooh, grandees sticking to their guns. Fair enough. Alright, there it is. Arrest Lady Patrician Mystic Kelpie and confiscate her ill-gotten gold. Your soldiers storm Lady Patrician Mystic Kelpie's opulent mansion, arresting her and confiscating her ill-gotten crab gold. The trial will be held as soon as possible. Trade goes down to opulent. Defiance is now furious. Stability is now civil. Treasury goes up, and she only God. Mystic Kelpie is still rich. Outraged patricians protest that your actions are illegal and make a mockery of the law. Don't they know you're the king? The Crystal Pox.
Your Majesty, I bring dreadful tidings. An outbreak of crystal pox is ravaging the south.
What? Crystal Pox? What is that, Grandee Killer Man?
A most terrible disease, Your Majesty. It begins with a rash of boils, which slowly and painfully crystallize until the victim is sparkling like a diamond. Eventually, the sufferer becomes a crystalline statue, a painful but admittedly glamorous way to go.
How many dead?
Whole villages have succumbed. The disease is terribly virulent.
Your Majesty, if I may make a suggestion, are you going to suggest we sell the fucking plague victims? Victims of the crystal pox are only infectious at the boils stage. Once they're fully covered in crystals, they can no longer spread the... You're gonna... Indeed, the pox crystals can be harvested and used in jewelry. If we allowed the pox to spread, we could make money in the south.
By the 9th, woman, that is heartless, even for you.
The only way to fight the pox is to close the roads and shut down all trade until the wave subsides. Is that what you want, for the south to lose money?
Ooh.
That's a tough one. South, are you willing to take the trade hit? Because we can quarantine this to help keep your citizenry safe. It'll have some impacts, though. If we don't do anything, or if we allow the actual spread of it intentionally, then faith goes down, which is not good, and all sorts of nasty things. I'm thinking we work together to try and prevent this spread. Human gem goods. You are evil, T-Ziton. My goodness. Heartless, I dare say, wanting to harvest southern peasants as gems. You worry me sometimes. Alright, voting has closed. We'll quarantine the south to prevent further spread. Stability goes down. Authority goes up. Blockades are placed on the roads leading in and out of the south. Nobody goes in or out. For a month, the crystal pox ravages the countryside. When the blockades are lifted, many fields lie fallow with no farmers left to tend them. Southern villages are dotted with gleaming statues of the afflicted. Thanks to the council's quick thinking, the disease doesn't spread beyond southern borders. Once the roads reopen, the grandees harvest gemstones from the quarantined dead and sell them at a tidy profit. Jeez, okay. Some grandees' wealth has increased. Brutal. But pragmatic, I suppose. Comet sighting. Counts are a cruel mockery of the Ashmedian barons. Count unknown contraption. A blood-red comet was spotted in the night sky over the east, Your Highness. The peasants are claiming it is a terrible omen. The common folk are on the verge of panic. Is there anything I can do? I'll tell them there's nothing to worry about. Damn. You deliver a speech reassuring the peasants of the east that the comet isn't a good or bad thing. Just a thing. Probably the ninth god riding a chariot or whatever. Fortunately, the peasants don't believe a word of it. Your reassurances only panic them further. For a few weeks, the east is gripped by panic, riots breaking out in the streets, soothsayers wandering the land, foretelling doom. Woo! Exciting. At the villa. Sitting on a bench outside a sun-bleached villa, two patricians of the coast meet to plot their latest scheme, along with some other faces that the king might recognize. Lord Patrician Glen 149. Greetings, Lord Patrician. I'd like to introduce you to some friends of mine. Treasurer. Good afternoon, noble patricians. A pleasure as always.
Hello? Is this the place? Ugh, smells like fish.
Wow.
I take it you found my colleague's arguments most persuasive, then.
Indeed, Lord Patrician Glen 149 made some excellent points about the king's incompetence.
The most persuasive part was the giant bag of gold.
Unfortunately, the Spymaster and Chancellor still remain beyond our grasp, but with these two in our pocket, we can do great things. We just need to decide our approach. So you can either bankrupt the kingdom and buy the throne outright, lower treasury, or bring down the king in a bribery scandal, raise others' defiance. What's it going to be, patricians? We got one looking to raise others' defiance. Okay. Voting is closed. Bring down the king in a bribery scandal. So after all this, our plan is to make the king look like the corrupt one. Yes, after all, isn't his court absolutely rotten with bribes and scandals? Worse than it's been in centuries.
Of course it is, and we're to blame.
The general public don't need to know that part. We just need to ensure the other nobles hate the king enough to support our version of events. For the final stage of their scheme, the patricians must raise other regions' defiance to a combined total of at least 10, or ensure other regions begin a rebellion. Oh, shit. Okay. The dreams of being. In the east, Count Vermeer and the wizard Pestia are standing atop her grim, windowless tower, swept by howling winds and lashed by rain.
I notice the kingdom's still aswarm with bees. What happened to our arrangement?
But please, just give me a few more months. By the blood of the dead, I won't let you down.
You'd better not, unless you want for leprosy.
Total defiance is at 14. Theirs doesn't count. They need the other regions to be at 10 or in rebellion. The Count's aim is to lower all regions' combined farming to 14 or less. And it is auction time, baby. Alright, here are your options. We got a deer park, a grand bazaar, a stadium, a thieves guild, an observatory, and a prison. Let the bidding begin. We got 1 minute on the clock. And a whole lot of gold for people to burn should they wish. Exclamation point fund, and then the buildings you want. Okay. Sorry, Blueberry still gunning for my stability. You know, we don't want the kingdom to collapse necessarily. Well, I think I see what you're going for, actually. But I won't call it out just yet. Now we do. If the kingdom collapses, then, well, all kinds of issues could occur. Well, I suppose, true, you do want stability down insofar as... Also, only that was funded. Insofar as you want the other regions to rebel. So remember, grandees, if you rebel, that is what the patricians want. They want to have at least 10 or a rebellion. And the patricians themselves are also on the verge of rebellion. Do I finally have an heir? Your quest for an heir is finally complete. Thank God. It only took 4 years, 5 years. You stand before the council holding a small child in your arms. Should I die, I ask that my crown be passed down to... The council hall is filled with nervous silence. My son. The assembled nobles break out in polite applause. By designating an heir, you've cemented the stability of the kingdom. Count T. Zayton.
Your Highness, may I be the first to congratulate you on the birth of your son. What is his name?
Quincy II. He is Quincy, son of Quincy.
Most pleasing, Your Grace. I'm sure little Quincy II will grow up to be a chip off the old block. Only the grannies have a decent military. Congratulations on finding an heir. Now you just need to fulfill your ambition to win the game. Expect a visit from the Spy Master soon. Yep. A proposition. Treasure. Your Majesty, I have an idea. The best since lined parchment, I dare say. An expedition to Chur. Sounds churlish. Don't be so quick to judge, I implore you. The great unexplored and untamed wilderness far across the eastern sea awaits. You have a lot of wealth at the moment, Your Highness. It's just sitting around collecting dust. Why not make a sound investment and send explorers to Chur? Who knows what they might find? Treasure, rare materials, ancient history, a new disease? She's a bit too animated when she says the word disease. Yeah, I remember you during the crystal pox. I'm not wasting my money on such a risk. She looks crestfallen, but nods curtly. Very well, Your Highness. Your pile of gold will remain a pile, perhaps another time. Don't worry, I have plans for it. It's time to start greasing palms eventually. Alright. So, one thing to note about rebellions. You can choose to vote for your rebellion at any time with !rebel, but if you do, it puts your scheme on pause. You will not be able to win off scheme. And the patricians want a rebellion. Or a bunch of defiance. Count Vimer. Your Highness, I'm afraid someone has been painting obscene graffiti on your monument in the east. What do you mean, obscene? It describes you as a tyrant. In addition, there are images. What kind of images? The obscene kind. Be specific. I'd rather not. We're all adults here. Please, Your Highness, I'd rather not discuss such vile matters in front of the council. Understood. Sorry for pressing the matter. I quite understand, Your Grace. I assume it's been washed off by now. Yes, Your Holiness, but every time we remove the images, they appear again the next day. We need to track down the perpetrator. You're becoming a laughingstock in the east. When you call the council to gather, some of the nobles whisper behind their hands, stifling giggles. Count Vermeer was right. Let's see here. So we can either brutally crack down on the locals until the perpetrator is found, send the watch to investigate without drawing attention to themselves, offer a reward for the perpetrator's capture, or this is nothing to worry about. Let's see here. Well, I think we should try and crack down on these peasants and see what happens. What could possibly go wrong? Let's raise a little defiance. Raise a little hell, shall we? Alright, it's close. Voting is up. Voting tied at 2. And I'm going with my iron choice. Because now I have locked in my authority higher. Your soldiers storm the local village, shouting and kicking people until they get the answers they're looking for. The culprit is a local artist protesting your recent refusal to become their patron. Your refusal was totally justified, other than certain parts of the anatomy, which are bizarrely detailed. Their artwork is slapdash and sloppy. The artist is thrown into your dungeons to think about what he's done, and hopefully practice drawing more wholesome parts of the body. Stability is now turbulent, defiance is now insolent. We'll deal with that. Also, apparently... Wait, okay, rebellion halted. Interesting. Defiance is below authority or stability. Okay, cool. Now then. Let's see here. Counts, grandees, I admit, I've been rather harsh with you in recent memory. I confess, I have been rather harsh in my policies. And I would like to pay you out of the patricians' pockets, baby. Let's go! Alright. Patricians of the coast on the verge of rebellion. Oh, yikes. Uh-oh.
let's see here. Your ambition. At the start of your reign, you said you wanted to be the architect of a golden age. You succeeded on that front. The kingdom has never been more prosperous. Well done, your majesty. Heesh. But to shut down your noble scheming for good, we need to build on that reputation. Your advisors have some ideas. Have you heard of the Scepter of Sages? It's an ancient lost artifact forged by Queen Alma the Wise. There's a legend that any king who recovers it will rule over a golden age. My advice, on the other hand, would be to infiltrate each region with loyal spies. Defeat their schemes with schemes of your own. But the Chancellor has other ideas. We'll recover the scepter. A wise decision, your majesty. I'll begin sending out adventurers to track down the scepter's location. If only I could have gone for, like, authority plus trade. Oh, man. But adventures aren't cheap. Your priority is to raise the kingdom's overall faith and trade as much as you can. And of course, there can't be open rebellion among the nobles. Panic in the council. Grandee Killerman 0922. Your Highness, I bring bad news from the south. We are receiving reports of... Lady Patricia Mystic Kelpie. I am sure your news can wait. I bring urgent tidings from the coast that demand the king's attention at once.
Wait your turn, you ignorant dolt!
County Zayden.
Why don't you settle this quarrel outside? Meanwhile, I have news from the east that really is urgent.
Now, one at a time.
The cities of the south are being consumed with riots on a weekly basis. Our citizens want to overthrow the king and elect a more competent ruler.
Is that all? By the 9th, the industries of the coast are in grave danger. The workers are striking. They demand fewer hours and higher pay.
My news is worse still. Eastern courts are corrupt, Your Highness. Judges are letting off the vilest criminals in return for the slightest bit of coin.
All these problems have arisen because the kingdom is increasingly unstable, Your Majesty. Something must be done. Agreed. Make sure these issues are dealt with, my Chancellor.
Unfortunately, we lack the resources to tackle all these problems at once. We must vote on which matter to prioritize.
Ouch. I don't like any of these options. I leave it up to you, my nobles. Hurting the faith hurts, and hurting trade hurts. So either way, I am hurting from this. Make thy will be known. Also, I like how the grandees voted for their own region, and then the patricians voted for the east, and then the eastern counts voted for the coast. Voting tied at 2. Jeez. Hit my trade. It's slightly better. The corrupt eastern judges are stubborn. When you try to remove them from their posts, they retaliate by enforcing all the old forgotten laws that everyone had agreed to ignore. Suddenly, merchants are legally required to wear blindfolds on weekends, and every coin must be passed under the nose of a cat before it's spent. Trade grinds to a halt. Once the stupid old laws are repealed, you enact crucial legal reforms. No more corruption in the East, or at least less of it. The crisis in the East has been quashed, making the kingdom as a whole slightly more stable, but the nobles of the other regions feel like you are ignoring their problems. Defiance is now vengeful in the coast. Holy shit. Oh, and the crab trial. Alright, Mystic Kelpie. After months of delay, Lady Patricia Mystic Kelpie is finally due to stand trial for her crab-related market manipulation. You stand accused of perpetrating fraud and tricking hundreds into buying expensive crabs. How do you plead? Lady Patricia Mystic Kelpie. I am guilty only of making money, so I broke a few laws along the way. Is that a crime? That's the... Yes, obviously. I pronounce you guilty as charged, and your fate will be decided by the king. Imprison the guilty party. Lady Patricia Mystic Kelpie is dragged away in chains, wailing for clemency. Most of the watching nobles agree that justice has been done, except for the patricians, of course. Defiance is now treasonous. Lord Patrician Glenn 149.
Please, Your Majesty, Mr. Kilpie has young children. Who is supposed to pay for the upkeep of our villa?
Lady Patrician Mr. Kelpie has been imprisoned. Mr. Kelpie II joins the council. In season... let's see here. I'm not taking any of those. Fair enough. Just a casual businessman puts in his rebel. He will be the leader of the rebellion, should they choose to rebel. Alright, I suppose ambition. The Scepter of Sages. Your Majesty, I have the most exciting news. Our hired adventurers have discovered an ancient manuscript hidden deep beneath the mountains. It speaks of the Scepter of Sages, and it was written by Queen Alma herself. Worried about what would happen to the kingdom after she died, she hid the Scepter of Sages so her enemies couldn't find it. Good work, treasure. It's in a warren of caves within the Black-Wheeled Forest, Your Majesty, near to the capital, but it's under our noses this whole time. I've taken the liberty of sending out more adventurers. They'll clear the area and get inside. Excellent. Send them on their way. As you wish, Your Majesty. As soon as the adventurers return, the treasurer comes to tell you the news. Have they found anything? 60%? More delightful news, Your Majesty. The adventurers have found a golden door beneath the forest, which matches the description in Queen Alma's manuscript. Wonderful. The scepter should be hidden within, but the Scepter of Sages can only be found by a monarch who is strong of purpose and pure of heart. That's me. Yes, indeed, Your Majesty, I'm sure. I agree. But unfortunately, it's not me who decides. Queen Alma wrote a ritual for the monarch to prove themselves worthy of the scepter. If we go to the cave, I can read out the relevant passages while you set it all up. You make the arrangements, bringing a procession of horses, food, drinks, adventurer guides, and a little traveling desk for the treasure to the Black-Wheeled Forest. Your wife comes too, riding beside you. Good day for it, eh? I just hope this scepter thing's all it's cracked up to be. The adventurers lead you inside the cave, holding flaming torches to light your way. Soon the tunnel grows horribly cramped, and you bend double to squeeze through. This is all very jolly. No time like the present. Let's go! You walk for what feels like hours. Just as you might have lost hope, you reach a golden door, exactly as the adventurers described. It will only open for the faithful. Close your eyes, Your Majesty. Concentrate. Alright, so this is a 40% faith roll. If I get this, that's a monarch victory. If I don't, then the coast enters rebellion, and we have to deal with it. So, let's find out how the game goes. Your focus scatters, and you open your eyes. Ah! Don't worry, Your Majesty. Maybe if we go back to the palace and pray for guidance. You return to the surface far more quickly than you descended, blinking away tears and sudden sunlight. To improve your chances of victory, focus on increasing the kingdom's faith as much as possible in the next 2 seasons. Challenge will decrease in difficulty with each failed attempt. And it's going to be rebellion time after this season. Oh boy! Count T. Zeiton.
Your Highness, I'm stunned, outraged, and incensed. I've been summoned to trial by the Inquisition on some nonsense-fabricated charge. They're claiming I'm part of a cult because of the peculiar design of my crest. And how I have exactly 10 people at every meal, and the strange noises from hidden chambers. It's ridiculous. No one dares defend me on their own. They're too scared of the High Inquisitor. The trial is set, but the Council must intervene, Your Grace. Though she remains silent, the Council is keenly aware of the High Inquisitor's steely gaze from across the chamber. So we can either stability roll, faith roll, or suggest he pray for a good outcome. It's up to you, my nobles. How shall we handle this? Grandees want to search for a witness to defend Count T. Zeiton. Patricians as well. Meanwhile, another count suggests he pray for a good outcome. Brutal, but fair enough. Alright. Voting is closed. Search for a witness to defend the count. You distribute a proclamation among the counts asking for a witness to T. Zeiton's innocence. But from fear of church reprisal or distrust of the crown, no one comes forward.
Yikes. During the trial, T-Ziton crumbles and can barely argue for his own innocence. Unsmiling, the High Inquisitor orders him to be taken away and thrown in the Inquisition's special dungeons. Defiance is up to grumbling. Alright. That said, we don't need to worry about your defiance anymore, Counts and Grandees, because, it's rebellion time, just about. Well, I guess, can you win off a scheme if you meet the conditions in the end check before the rebellion? Or since it's already voted on the rebellion? Ooh, I don't know. Either way, Chancellor, Your Majesty, a grandee by the name of Katori Blueberry wants to present you with a new invention. A third? Your Majesty, we are entering a modern age, a more humane age, yet botched executions are commonplace. Decapitations where the head doesn't come off, or hangs where it does. No more. Behold, a merciful machine for removing heads quickly and painlessly. I call it the Katori Blueberry. He swishes away a cloth to reveal a huge machine of iron and wood. It has a hole for someone to place their head, and a heavy blade dangling ominously above it. Sight sends a chill down your spine. How efficient. Precisely. With the Katori Blueberry, you'll send 12 heads a-rolling in the time it would take an ordinary executioner to chop through a single neck. With a little funding, Your Majesty, I can distribute the Katori Blueberry across the kingdom. I'll bring this to the council. You won't regret this. So we can either fund a nationwide rollout, test it on Grandee Katori Blueberry himself, or ban this horrid contraption. And I'm willing to offer you all even more dough to fund a nationwide rollout. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's get the money flowing into your pockets. Don't vote B, you fools. No one voted B, Katori. You're fine. You're fine. For now. Fund nationwide rollout. Hundreds of Katori blueberries are built in southern workshops and sent to courthouses all over the kingdom. Soon you're chopping through the backlog of condemned prisoners with unprecedented speed and unprecedented mercy. Alright. In season... Alright, these upstarts are saying you have right to your throne. Yep, alright. So, I have an heir as my chosen successor. Continue to do the rebellion report. The kingdom is in rebellion. The first side to earn 5 victory points will win. Victory points are earned through events. If the rebels are victorious, the monarch is overthrown. Alright, here we go. Rebellion. At long last, the patricians have reached their boiling point. You are confronted in your throne room by Lord Patrician Glen 149, his smile gleaming in the light of the braziers. Or braziers. Brazier is something very different. Brazier. Braziers. Fuck. English. It's hard. The patricians of the coast will bring you down, pretender to the throne. We will rise up and fight for Euless, the true king. Authority is now credible, stability is now lawless. This is a formal declaration of war. The next time we see each other will be on the battlefield. One day, I will see your head on a spike. There will be many heads on spikes before this war is over. Mine will not be amongst them. Lord Patrician Glen 149 strides from your throne room without looking back. I didn't expect them to move so boldly, Your Majesty. What are our chances against the rebels? Pretty good. The patricians aren't exactly a military powerhouse. I hope they don't persuade the other regions to join their rebellion. That would be disastrous. How do things get this bad? Leader of the rebellion is Lord Patrician, just a casual businessman. As a reason for the uprising, he's citing your past transgressions, mainly your marriage to a lowly commoner. Urge to murder. Rising. Yes, Your Majesty. Hold on to that feeling. You'll need it. So this is it. Civil war. That's right, Your Majesty. The kingdom is divided. There will be a lot of death and suffering before all this is over. I can't wait. I'll go take out the trebuchets. Opening strike. Lord Patrician, just a casual businessman.
Do you smell that, my friend?
Lady Patrician, Mr. Kelpie II. Sorry, I think I stepped in some...
That's freedom you can smell. Freedom from the mad tyrant King Quincy. At long last, we've risen up against his oppression. But if we want to keep our freedom, we must fight for it. I ask you, my fellow patricians, what will be our opening strike against the king? We can launch a preemptive strike against the counts to cripple their military capabilities. If we suspect the grandees may join our cause, we can call them to war. They'll be more likely to join us if the king's authority is low. We'd also call upon the church to condemn the king. Or finally, you could send off an assassin to nip this in the bud.
Alright. What's it gonna be? What is your opening strike, patricians? Yeah, they'll launch a preemptive strike on the counts, call upon the grandees to join, petition for support of the church, or send an assassin. I am everywhere. Grandees nuts. Good, sorry. Jeez. Alright. Glen 149 wants to call upon the grandees to join the cause. The patricians smuggle a secret message to the grandees. Challenge succeeded.
Honorable grandees of the South, too long have you suffered under the yoke of the king's tyranny. This war is righteous. Do the noble thing and join us.
Grandee Katori Blueberry, he speaks truly. Why did we ever think of things this way? Grandees are emboldened by the cult of rebellion, of course. They can only act if their defiance is high enough. So, they will have the ability to rebel. Sickness spreads. Oh boy. Grandee Killerman 0922. Your Highness, a terrible sickness is spreading amongst my troops in the south. What kind of sickness? We've done a lot of digging, a lot of latrines, and a lot of graves. What can we do about it? If we let the disease run its course, well, I've lost a lot of soldiers we can't afford to lose. I'm not sure how much we can do. Perhaps the council can see a way forward. I think... Let's see here. I think the best thing that we can do, Grandees, is see about sending a medical doctor to aid you. It'll bite the treasury, lower it to the point you want for the second stage of your scheme, but I don't want to fuck with a wizard. Yeah, enough meddling with wizards. So, vote with me on A. I will bite the treasury hit, and that will complete stage 2 of your scheme when the season comes. Alright. Let's see here. Count's staying out of it for the time being, it seems. Oh, I spoke too soon. There's unknown contraption. Alright. Voting is closed. Send medical doctors from Quail University.
I know how to treat this sickness, Your Majesty. It's a simple remedy. Garlic, wormwood, and spleen of goat. Oh, and we mustn't forget leeches. Lots of leeches.
Of course, gathering enough ingredients to treat a whole army doesn't come cheap. At great expense, you send the best doctors from Quail University out to the south to cure your troops. Hopefully they're worth the money. 60%. Doctors get to work their leeches and bizarre concoctions. Some of your soldiers even benefit from the treatment. But it quickly becomes clear the doctors are fighting a losing battle, especially after they also catch the sickness. Rebels gain a victory point. Military is now mediocre. By the time the sickness is finished cutting through the southern troops, hundreds of soldiers are dead and morale among the survivors is plummeted. Ooh, okay. Okay. Blackmail and bribery.
The ninth god is with us, my friend. The palace watch are in our pocket. They took our money gladly. The kingdom can barely afford to pay them a living wage. Music to my ears. Soon the throne will be ours. Indeed it will. But now we must plan our next steps.
So you can either kill the king and place their own claimant on the throne, lower authority, or control the king with the threat of assassination, raise own military. What's it going to be, Grandies? Alright, goal is to lower authority. Oh man, you're not making this easy on me.
Over the next few months, we'll have our troops infiltrate the capital, disguised as beggars. At my signal, they'll gather and storm the palace in the dead of night. The bribed watch will open the gates. Our soldiers will murder the king in his bed and have our claimant on the throne before sunrise. Brilliant. But what about the counts and patricians? They'll call us usurpers and rise up in revolt. Not necessarily, my friend. If King Quincy's rule is weak enough, we can persuade them to accept anything.
For the final stage of the Grandy scheme, they must lower the kingdom's authority to 3 or less. Grandies, I know you're going to try and lower my authority to complete your scheme, but the patricians of the coast are in open rebellion, and if our stability hits 0, we lose automatically. If you suffer a kingdom loss, so authority, treasury, or stability 0, while a rebellion is active, the rebellion wins. So, we need F. We need the library. My grandees and my counts. We need a library. Fund F. Please. 55 seconds. 5,200. Oh my goodness. Contraption dropping the lot on it. Fair enough. Aside from that, you can vote for other buildings as you need them. I have no qualms. But we simply cannot allow the rebels to win. Savings for my king, thank you. I'll have to eat the authority hit. I knew that was coming, but we're not out yet. These rebels haven't won yet. 10 seconds remaining. 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, time is up. Buildings funded. The library, with the biggest contributor, Count Unknown Contraption, with an impressive 3,400. Katori Blueberry funding the theater for 2,150. Alright, the rebels have a single victory point because we failed that medical check. Patricians are rebelling. The grandees do have the ability to rebel. Calling the cavalry. The marshal strides in, her face streaked with mud and sweat. Had some troubles in the last skirmish, Your Majesty. Oh, ninth god, what happened? When our cavalry charged, those rebel bastards lined up their pikes and just waited. It wasn't pretty. Some of our soldiers got away, most of the horses didn't. This is a problem. I've been exchanging diplomatic messages with the Asmodean Empire. They're willing to donate war thoroughbreds to the cause. It is in their interest to keep the kingdom's leadership consistent, Your Majesty. I don't trust us. They want us in their debt. I suggest we send scouts into coastal territory and steal horses from their foremost equestrian, Lady Patrician Mystic Kelpie II. That would be dangerous, Marshal. Perhaps we could purchase the Count's horses. Count Unknown Contraption has decent herds. Pah! All you want is handshakes and greasy palms. This is war, not a county fair. So, we can either pay Count Unknown Contraption for their horses, send a diplomatic envoy to Ashmead to ask for their help, or try to steal horses from Lady Patrician Mystic Kelpie II. Our treasury doesn't bottom out with B, but I would also not prefer it. Alright, have at it. And Glenn, I think the reason you're not able to vote is because you are currently rebelling against me.
you are not attending council meetings because you are actively trying to murder me, and I'm not going to let you in my castle to do it.
All right, looks like we're going to roll the dice. Steal horses from Lady Patricia Mystic Kelpie II. Ooh. The marshal sends out a squad of would-be horse thieves into coastal territory. You wait and wait. Challenge failed. Military in the coast goes up, east goes down, and the rebels have a second victory point. After a few weeks, she admits defeat. No idea what happened to them. I'll mark them down as missing in action. The next skirmish results in heavy losses for the eastern and capital troops alike. Ooh. Alright. Great battle. Vast armies darken the landscape like the shadows of clouds. Flags are flying, drums are pounding in rhythm with the marching of boots. The kingdom is gripped with civil war. At least that's what you imagine. Most of your time is spent in the safety of your palace, poring over a giant map with your marshal. Your Majesty, the armies of the coast is advancing on the capital, led by that treacherous cur, the Lord Patrician, just a casual businessman. I received word from the commander of our loyalist forces in the south. If they march now, they'll intercept the patricians in a matter of days. Alternatively, they could join forces with the army of the east. It's risky, but together they'd have a higher chance of defeating these accursed patricians. What are your orders, Your Majesty? Grandees and coast are pretty evenly balanced. Alright. Should try and have you guys join together. That's a combined 7 versus the 4. Very well, Your Majesty. I'll relay your orders to Grandee Killerman 0922, the commander in the field. Hopefully they do as they're told. God knows treachery can thrive on a battlefield.
We have our orders, but should we follow them?
Grandees, you can either defy orders and send the southern army to fight the rebels, follow order and link up with the counts, or hang back and let the rebels march on the capital without challenge. Alright, the Grandees have voted. 2 voted for defying orders. The whole city holds its breath. You stew in your palace, waiting for your marshal's return. Finally, she bursts into the throne room, drenched in blood and sweat of battle. Marshal, report! Your Majesty, the Grandees defied your orders and decided to go on the attack. At dawn, we drew up in battle formations. It's all very orderly at first, Your Majesty, but after the trumpets blow and the cavalry charge, it's nothing but blood and screams. Anyway, after the red mist lifted, I appraised the situation. Coastal line was breaking. They were fleeing the field. It was a total rout, Your Majesty, with your loyalists scarcely taking a scratch. The 9th is with us. Authority is now credible. Loyalists gained 3 victory points. Military is now weak. Thank the 9th. Instead of the 9th, you should thank the Grandees. Maybe send them some flowers. Coastal army is scattered all over the countryside. It'll be months before they can regroup. This gives the counts time to bolster their troops. It'll all come down to the next battle, Your Majesty. The fate of the kingdom hangs in the balance. We will prevail. That's the spirit. Now I really must be going. I have a lot to take care of. Holy shit. We're not dead on a 50. That was a coin flip between potentially losing to rebels, potentially getting Grandee's scheme to go off. Ooh. I'm stressed. Is anyone else stressed? Mustering an army. Along the coastal border, a few flags flap in the sea breeze. Some soldiers mill about randomly, looking scared. The patrician troops are gathering, but it's distinctly unimpressive. Lord Patrician, just a casual businessman. This is the best force we could muster, is it? Lord Patrician, 149. No, as a matter of fact, this is only the beginning.
I've considered several proposals to further boost the armies for the trials ahead.
Alright, so you can either hire mercenaries from the Ashmedian Empire, conscript a mass of peasant levies, or call upon a holy order of the 9th. Coastal faith too low, or the existing coastal army will be enough. What's it going to be? Lord Patricians. Hire mercenaries from the Ashmedian Empire. Alright. Mr. Kelpie is elsewhere. Alright. These Ashmedian mercenaries come highly recommended. But can we really absorb the cost? That price is extortionate.
Of course we can. This is the price of victory. Think of the future returns.
When the Ashmedian mercenaries arrive on the coast, it becomes apparent how different their customs are from the locals. They pray to Kaldovaga, the machine god, in an attempt to remind him that the world exists. They claim their swords are alive and will grow angry if sheathed for too long. They bathe every single day. But they're perfectly capable of enacting hideous violence in exchange for money, and that's all the patricians need for them. Alright. In season. Let's see here. You can set different taxes for each region here, bribe regions to keep them sweet. Alright. Jeez. Part of me wants to do a bribe, but I also can't suffer that loss right now. Bribe or raid? Bribe or rebellion? It's gonna be like that. Is it? You're gonna let the rebellion win if I don't bribe. Fair enough. You drive a hard bargain, but I'm sorry, Counts. My hand has been forced. We have to try and keep the balance. We can take the hit. Thank you, my Counts. Truly, your loyalty is more than I could ever ask for. Alright. 3-2 at the moment, in our favor. An offer from mercenaries. Marshal. Your Majesty, a band of mercenaries from the Tatterlands have offered to support you in the Civil War. They call themselves the Iron Mercy. I don't know much about them, but we can't afford to turn away any help. How much are they asking for? 1,000 gold from your treasury. Could be worse, right? We better run this by the council. Of course, Your Majesty. Alright. What's it gonna be? I want to hire the fleet. I want to hire the Iron Mercenaries, but if we turn them away, by golly, am I gonna hold on to some extra authority for it? I want to hire these mercs. Alright. Voting is closed. Hire the Iron Mercenaries to fight for you. The Iron Mercy arrive on your shores soon after. When your marshal reports back from her first meeting with them, she can't hide a satisfied smile. They're a very professional outfit, Your Majesty. Each kitted out in full plate mail, wielding swords bigger than I am. They're disciplined and have a solid command of battlefield tactics. Let's hope they're loyal. Turns out they are loyal and effective. They clash repeatedly with the patricians, inflicting devastating casualties on the rebel army. Military is now inadequate. This is having a real impact on enemy morale, Your Majesty. Money well spent. The final battle. The patricians have gathered their scattered army far faster than we thought possible. They're resuming their march on the capital. But they're weakened. Now is the perfect time for the counts to finish them off. Victory will be ours. I'll send word to the counts that it's time to strike. We can only hope they listen to orders, Your Majesty. Alright, so you can either send the Eastern Army to fight the rebels, or you can hang back and let the rebels march on the capital without challenge. So you can either give the rebels the win, or we can chance it, my counts. I say we fight them to the bitter end. Don't go there just to die, foolish counts. If we let them march on the capital, then the rebels take it. If the counts want to have a chance of staying in this, they need to shut down this rebellion. Your marshal rides out with your orders, leaving you to wait anxiously for the outcome of the battle. The next few days are agony. When she finally returns, it's not in the manner you'd hoped. She's carried into your throne room on a stretcher, coughing weakly, her torso covered in blood-soaked bandages. At the above, what happened to you?
It's nothing. Just let me make my report. As we marched to engage the enemy, we got lured into an ambush. I should have seen it coming. It was a narrow pass, forcing our armies into a choke point. Suddenly, our numbers didn't matter. Patricians softened us up with a hail of arrows, and they smashed into us like a hammer striking an anvil. Blood and screams, so much death.
Shit.
When they found me, I was under a pile of corpses with 6 arrows in me. They say it's a miracle I survived it all.
How could this happen?
I'm truly sorry that I failed you. If we want to see the year's end, we must build up fortifications, stockpile food, train up a citizens' militia. The patricians will be camped outside the city walls in a matter of weeks. It's time to pray to the Ninth, Your Majesty. Because apart from him, we're on our own.
Defectors. Your Majesty, my agents are everywhere. Busy times right now. I've heard something particularly interesting. Good news, I hope? Any news can be good news if used effectively. There are dissenters among coastal troops who want this conflict as little as we do. My agents could use them to sow opposition among their ranks. It could be dangerous, but could significantly damage enemy morale. Or we could lure them to join the southern troops. Some of the grandees might resent hosting turncoats, but we must be practical. Alright. Let's see here. I would say order the rebel dissenters to lower coastal morale, and I will put my golden choice on it. Maybe, we were at 4 points, so maybe we can 5-5 tie it? I don't even know if that's a thing, but we are at 4 victory points. So if we get this, and it gives us a victory point, that's 5-5, and I don't know what happens then. It might just coin flip it, but that coin flip's currently better odds than we've got currently. That's assuming this check even passes. 70% though, it's decent. The final battle. Yeah, maybe we can just convince them to back off at the very end. In the coming weeks, the Spy Master's agents get to work, subtly spreading the word about how badly the patricians are handling the Civil War. One evening, the Marshal strides in, her hair awry and streaked with blood. No idea what the Spy Master's been up to, but I don't care to know. Coastal morale has dropped through the floor. Something's shaking them up, that's for sure. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. 5-5. So what happens? Continue to the rebellion report. Loyalists are winning the rebellion. The rebels are crumbling. That actually... Okay, so the king... okay. It says the loyalists are winning the rebellion. Holy shit. It's 5-5. That makes me think that it defaults to king favor. In the year... Triumph of the... Fucking out. Okay. Unless... Sun rises on a city in turmoil. The patricians began their assault last night, and since then you've heard nothing outside but the screams and howls and clash of blades. Half the capital is in flames. Soldiers rush back and forth, shouting panicked orders. You haven't seen your marshal since the night before. Perhaps she's already dead. Your honor guard are in the streets outside the palace, building a barricade and organizing last-ditch defenses. Vital work, but you're vulnerable without them by your side. The royal court is empty except for you, your wife, and your son, cradled in the arms of his nanny. His crying is giving you a headache. If they break in, we can't let them take us alive. We'll go down fighting. You're right. Better to go down fighting. I'll fetch my rapier. You wait and stew. Outside, the screams and clashes get louder. Finally, your spy master arrives, out of breath, her face stained by smoke and blood. They'll be here any moment, Your Majesty. You must saddle your horse and escape the city. I know of a secret passage. No. I will stand and fight. Then you will die. It was nice knowing you, Your Majesty. She's gone in the blink of an eye. Well, no turning back now. That's the man I married. You walk down the palace steps, your feet slipping on all the blood. A wounded watchman crawls past you, begging for water. The sky is aflame with a deep, malevolent glow. You turn to your southern wife. If you have anything to say, now's the time. I love you. I love you too. A column of hardened coastal soldiers advance down the road, steel armor gleaming in the crimson light of dawn. Lord Patrician, just a casual businessman, is at their head, shouting orders. Come and get some, you bastards! Charge. You and your wife charge forward, weapons raised. It's beautiful. It's glorious. It will go down in history books forever. It's over almost instantly. Someone hurls a spear that slams right through your chest and sticks out the other side. You topple from your horse. 1,000 heavy boots march over you, crushing you into paste. But for a moment there, you really felt like a king. Brutal. Viva la revolution. You were overthrown by a rebellion. King Quincy's last, doomed, glorious charge against the patricians would go down in history. Not as an especially smart move, but a brave one. After losing the civil war, the counts retreated to within their borders and immediately began plotting against the usurper. As a reward for staying loyal to the king, the top grandees were beheaded in public. The survivors swore loyalty to the new regime. In private, they swore vengeance. The patricians launched a rebellion that toppled the king and devastated the kingdom. In the aftermath, nobody could stop them from taking the throne, and Euless was crowned to half-hearted cheers from the traumatized common folk. God damn. Beheaded by Katori blueberries? Probably. That's the merciful way, anyway. And I wouldn't put it past them to kill you with your own invention. Didn't expect that turn? Yeah, holy shit. What a game. There was so much back and forth there. I think that was the longest. That was a solid, like... I was, like, waiting for people for, like, the first 15 minutes. That was a, like, 2.5 hour run. My goodness. Yeah, spouse, Jane of the South. Successor, King Euless. Wealthiest noble, just a casual businessman. It's just business. I suppose. Poorest noble, unknown contraption. Kingdom. Oh yeah, authority 5. Oh man, good luck to this guy. The next one, treasury 55 starting. And region stats, yeah, fair enough. I thought maybe we could even it out. So I wonder if I should have done defectors first, if that would have mattered. If it was whichever one hit 5 first, or if it simply coin flipped and it landed on rebels. Because it said in the tooltip there that the rebel was crumbling. So I think it might have just coin flipped it since we both, you know, hit our goal. Either way, GG chat. What a game. Holy shit. Alright. Exit game. Oh man. That was an intense one. Holy shit. I was close to winning. Everyone was close to winning, honestly. Except for the counts who were struggling to get rid of the damn bees. Those damnable bees getting people for the, like, 3rd time. I thought the Grandee would have won. Yeah, I think they were trying to, by disobeying my orders and then failing, so that way they could tank my authority and then win on that. But they passed the check, won the fight, and I gained authority. We were so close. Oh, yeah. That was close on all sides. Oh, man. And you know what? I'm willing to lose it on a coin flip. You should let them kill you all. They did petition you to join them in rebellion. But you remained loyal, and I can appreciate that. Alright. But yeah. So, with that wrapped up, I will see about organizing a raid. And I will be doing another stream tonight. It's currently about 7:20 p.m. in my region. And I will be streaming some Final Fantasy XIV Unreal Trials around 9. I wish we were the monsters you want us to be. It was a good fight. Oh man, it was good everywhere. It's very hard to win a rebellion alone. I'm impressed, GG. Yeah, good game to everybody involved. And yeah, I'll be live again here in about an hour and 40 minutes doing some Final Fantasy XIV Unreals. But I'm going to take a break and get some dinner before then. So have a good one, everybody, and I'll see you about organizing a raid.
Thank you for the raid, Rose. Appreciate that. Welcome. Doing reclears. Woohoo. Finley, why is your face by my foot? She's like, I want to be close to you. Guys got to see this.
Yeah. Yeah, man. All right.
He's halfway off of his bed just to be on my foot. Don't chew it. Do not chew that. One way to make me absolutely livid.
Oh.
6824.